Good evening, everybody. My name is Eseza Nambasi. I'm a medical doctor by training. This program or this event is called Applied NeoLife. And today we would like to invite as many guests as possible to have a look at why NeoLife and why those of us who are already associated with NeoLife are truly excited. I'm by training a medical doctor. I've been that way for several years, over 30, over 35. And I'm married to Edward Nambasi, who himself is also a doctor. He's in the area of obstetrics, and he sees a lot of female issues, and particularly babies and their mothers. I, on the other hand, chose to focus more on medicine, and particularly HIV medicine, when HIV was really the hot topic. And out of that, I developed a passion for the immune system and all things to do with immunity and how our body functions, because I've always been fascinated by the way we were created by God, our creator, and he didn't make a single mistake in any of us. And unfortunately, modern lifestyle, as you will see as the presentation unfolds, has gone a long way to cause our bodies not to function the way they were supposed to. And so I'm beginning to answer the question, why NeoLife? And today, for the guests, I hope you will be helped to connect some dots and to get some insight into why we have the products that we have. So NeoLife actually means new life. And that's what we are all very excited about. That's what you get when you come to NeoLife. Now, I want to start by this phrase that was made by a gentleman called Josh Billing. And this is actually quite thought-provoking. Health is like money. We never have a true idea of its value until we lose it. And why I've begun with that is because as a medical practitioner, we have the system of waiting until people present to us with something, either a symptom or a sign or a tumor, for example, or they are feeling or presenting with something. May I put it to you and to all of us that by that time that happens, it is way past the time that we should have taken action. In other words, it is quite late. So yes, let us change our mindsets. And the question becomes, a lot of people know that it is good to take supplements. But now the question is, who can you trust your life with as regards nutrition supplements? And why do you feel that there is indeed a need to take nutrition supplements? All these questions I want you to think about, because there are lots and lots and lots of supplements on the market. And a study was done over about 9 years, between 2007 and 2016. And researchers found that there were over 700 products that were marketed as dietary supplements that in fact contained hidden active ingredients that were either unsafe or unstudied. Now, that is not an unusual set of affairs, because nutrition supplements are by and large not tightly regulated. And we do know for a fact that over 90%, 95 maybe percent of things that are sold in the name of nutrition supplements are synthetic. In other words, they're not out of food. And you want to know that what you are putting in your body as a nutritional supplement is actually out of the food we are supposed to be eating, right? Yeah. So whom to trust? We are privileged in the NeoLife family to have a scientific advisory board. It was established in the early 70s by a gentleman who was a top toxicologist and pharmacologist and cancer researcher. He pioneered oral cancer treatment, oral chemotherapy. Now, the turning point in his career was when he actually pointed out that cancers could be prevented through good nutrition. So at that point, he came across to NeoLife, which is a company that has been going since 1958. 1958, that's a lot older than many of us. And he established the Scientific Advisory Board, and this is part of the board. I think there are 2 more members that have joined it since. And they research and develop everything. So we are privileged and proud to say that all the products that we have been rigorously developed, and they are thoroughly researched to show that they work, and they are out of food that is 100% organic and non-genetically modified, because they have perfected the technology to ensure that what they present to us is certified, that it is non-GMO, and it is whole food based. And then on the other hand, we have other products like the skincare products. We also have the cleaning range. Now, one might wonder, if you are primarily a nutrition company, why in the world are you even bothering to bring cleaning products? Well, I would have you know that NeoLife was the first company to say we need a non-toxic environment to live in. Doesn't it sound almost obvious? But you need to understand that over the past 50 to 60 years, there's been over 80,000 chemicals added to our day-to-day use. Now that is actually very, very serious. Now, just to go further on the caliber of the science, we have what we call double amino acid chelation of minerals. Part of the reason people fall sick and are not quite healthy is because of a lack of nutrients. That is a very common reason that people fall sick. And for nutrients to be available for use by the body, they have to be absorbed and they have to be presented to the cells. Now, if that process is not happening, then obviously the person affected will not be 100% healthy or as close to 100% as possible. Minerals are very, very, very poorly absorbed. And that's why we fall sick, because if we're not absorbing minerals, our detoxification processes, our actual nutrition is not happening as it should. So yes, double amino acid chelation was the technology that was pioneered by Dr. Arthur First, and that is designed to enhance mineral absorption. So non-chelated minerals might actually become more dangerous in that they become deposited in all the wrong places. By double amino acid chelation, they significantly increased absorption. In other words, they are more bioavailable. And then there's less irritation to the stomach. I'm sure many of you know people who are always taking antacids and all sorts of medications because of stomach ailments, okay? It could very well be because of the very medication that they've been given, or the antacids, that there's a challenge. And then rapidly disintegrated and dispersed. That's what I meant by highly bioavailable. Now, NeoLife has advised us that we should have daily habits that we do. And in our nutrition and day-to-day lifestyle, we need to ensure that we do some physical activity in order to manage our weight properly. We should eat sufficient amounts of whole grains. That is difficult in today's diet. Then we should have enough time and resources to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. And obviously make sure that we eat very little refined sugars and fats, hydrogenated fats. In fact, we shouldn't even touch hydrogenated fats, okay? And protein, yes, we shouldn't overdo the animal protein. The trouble is, typically, our lifestyle is that we are eating way too much fats and refined sugars and refined carbohydrates. And we might be doing more meat than we should be. And then we are hardly doing any physical activity. Whole grain, as I said, is hard to come by, and yet it is necessary. So the result of that is that most people, when they go through life, quickly slip into the tired zone where they stay for several years and then move into the sick zone, where they are maintained on medication. And so look, there's a lot of quality life. You might have quantity life, but no quality. And that isn't really ideal. So we need to change something about that. And this is what we want to share with the visitors that I hope have been invited in large numbers, to say that health should start at the cellular level. This is something that we learned way back in medical school, in the foundational years. And then when we got into the clinical years, we were being taught how to medicate symptoms. And so coming to NeoLife, and this is a big why for me, has been that revelation that, yay, if we look after ourselves at that level, we should be healthy, because a healthy cell will allow nutrients in and it will allow waste matter out. Unfortunately, because of our nutrition and the lack of whole grain oils, we have unhealthy cells. So we have a solution. This is our flagship product. It's called TreeNN. And for the visitors and guests, you'll hear about TreeNN many, many times. It is whole grain concentrates or oil concentrates that have been processed out of the food. So in modern lifestyle, people who are not supplementing with this product are not getting the building material for all cells that we have in our bodies. We are made up of anywhere between 70 and 100 trillion cells, and they need to be built properly for there to be food going in, for them to be fed so that energy is created and the nutrients are utilized properly. Now, inside the cells, it isn't just a cell membrane, but inside the cell is actually where you need to get the nutrients to get to, because we have what we call mitochondria. Those are the working parts of each and every cell, the powerhouses. They even have genetic material called DNA. So we have to be very, very careful what we are supplying, and it had better be the authentic food. If we don't, this is what happens. We get all sorts of diseases. And I just singled out autoimmune disorders because there's been a lot of interest in autoimmunity. And that is one of the things that NeoLife led the way to find a solution to. And as I've already introduced myself, I'm so fascinated and keen on anything to do with the immune system. It is tempting to blame something from the outside and then chase it with everything that you've got. But in NeoLife, I've learned that by helping your body to fortify the immune system, by supplying the right nutrients and making sure that the environment is conducive to good health, you go a long way to ensuring that things like autoimmune disorders do not affect you severely. They come under control. So what are examples? These are things that we are seeing commonly, and you might recognize the names: diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple sclerosis, thyroid disorders, inflammatory bowel disease, okay? All those, skin disorders, kidney disorders, liver disorders, all those are examples of autoimmune disorders. And there are hundreds and hundreds of them. So that, I know, forms the core of medical practice, to try and find the mystery of why they are there. And the approach is that we need to stop the symptoms. Well, I'm here to tell you that by demystifying all those things that are labeled as diseases, we can find the true solution, and a solution that everybody can live happily with. What triggers them? Well, toxins, infections, infestations, allergens, such as what one finds in food, in various things like eggs, dairy, nuts, if one is sensitive, and poor diet and stress. But when all is said and done, all those affect the immune system, making it incapable of being resilient enough against all those triggers. So autoimmunity, an example is rheumatoid arthritis. It is felt as several joint pains accompanied by fatigue and sickness. Isn't that a common presentation? I'm sure you know somebody when I talk about the joint pains and the fatigue and the sickness. A lot of people manifest like that, but they don't know that it is something that they can address. Another, here are the common triggers: hormone imbalances, high blood sugar, heavy metal poisoning, okay, low-grade viral infections, and on it carries. Another common presentation, joint and muscle pains. Again, we hear a lot of people complaining, and yet it might be something that can be addressed by rectifying the vitamin D deficiency that is very common, you see? So these are the things that we learn when we become associated with this family, and we can help people who we always hear saying, I've got backache, I am tired, I'm not sleeping well, I've been put on antidepressants because I am depressed. All these might be something that you can address through nutrition. And that is the exciting thing. So I want to urge all of us to listen carefully to your body's language to you. What is your body saying? Okay, so rather than outsourcing your own body to other people, learn to listen to it and understand. The other thing that is important that you will learn in NeoLife, and we have learned in a big way, is the importance of gut balance. The balance in the gut, because the gut is super, super important. It is the home of trillions of bacteria that help the body with digestion and also to produce nutrients such as vitamins and they use fatty acids to build our immune system and protect us against the diseases that I've just mentioned, autoimmune diseases. So gut balance, very, very important. And this is just a picture to show what can go wrong. These are the things that we learn. If there is too much undigested food particles, what does this tell you? That perhaps the food is made in such a way that a lot of it is just eaten without being properly chewed. All those processed foods that we are talking about, you end up with a lot of undigested food particles, or maybe everybody is so stressed out and is in a hurry that there's no time to chew properly, okay? Or maybe the teeth are defective. And then there might be too many antibiotics being taken, such that they kill off the normal bacteria that we've talked about. All that will result in a healthy gut quickly becoming a leaky gut. In other words, the tight junctions are destroyed by drugs such as painkillers, antidepressants, and all sorts of other toxins. So when that happens, it is just a step away to the bloodstream, because there's this one single layer in the gut that protects our whole body from the outside world. And that is a huge responsibility on us. So now the main questions are, does it really matter that we eat the right food? Yes, it does. Too much meat has been shown to be associated with a lot of diseases, and we learn that here. And a lot of our supplements are plant-based, but we are also encouraged to ensure that we learn what we should be doing day to day. And so if you take time to eat correctly and to live as well as you can, and to exercise, and to ensure that you're sleeping and resting properly, what we offer, what we have been offered in NeoLife are nutrition supplements and other lifestyle enhancing products that we are going to unveil to you. So what I want to suggest is that avoid foods that might cause food sensitivity, such as gluten. Avoid refined sugars and refined flours and generally processed foods and fast foods. Avoid triggers that can cause your body to become estrogen dominant, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Support your immune system, support your hormonal system, and you need to supplement with specific nutrients, such as omega-3, which is very, very, very deficient. But now you need to get a good quality one, and that's what we want to show you. So yes, more of those foods, less of the processed foods, more of the phytonutrients naturally, but you need to know that because of the sprays that are used in agriculture, perhaps you might need to wash them properly, and that's what we need to show you. More foods that give you vitamin D. If not, we have supplements. So let's swiftly carry on to ask the question again. Why NeoLife? Why NeoLife indeed? Because what is the NeoLife difference? Why don't I just go to the shop and buy it over the counter? Well, that's what we want to share, and we invite you to appreciate it. And the best way to appreciate it is to try it. We have the concept of core nutrition, and this is foundational. Out of the core nutrition, depending on where you're at as regards affordability, you can actually buy each item individually if you need to do that initially. But the ideal is to put them together, and that is something that you will learn, that nutrients work in synergy. We are fearfully and wonderfully created. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so we need to understand that we can't just give one thing and hope for good results. So synergy. However, we can let you know that even if you start with one thing, you will see a difference for sure. So we generally recommend Treanin as a first starting block, or the entire Pro Vitality as you see it there. And I've mentioned that omega-3 is often very, very deficient in most people's diets. Another difference is that we have children's supplements, and they're not, as you would find them elsewhere, full of sugar and preservatives and stuff like that. But the idea is to set the children on the right path early in life, because that's when the disease processes get established. So we need to avoid it early. And I can't overemphasize that. I just want to remind you that there are no artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, or preservatives. We even have protection for the little ones called antioxidants, which have carotenoids and flavonoids. An amazing product that can be used at both extremes of life. If you have an elderly person, you can actually use children's supplements for them. Then the core nutrition, we have the shakes that will provide all 22 amino acids, but I've put up this picture specifically to emphasize the need to control blood sugar. That is perhaps one of the biggest drivers of disease today, uncontrolled blood sugar. We have had seminars, we've had webinars on that quite recently. And I just want you to know that it is very, very important to control blood sugar if you are to be healthy and well. Yes, so shakes have nothing artificial. One doesn't ever need to worry, and can give them with confidence to the entire family. So I'm just going to change tack a little bit and talk about inflammation. And inflammation is, in fact, the body's response to infections and any injury. It's nature's way of limiting damage from bacteria, allergens, or injury. Now, as I say, in the medical profession, we were trained that when there is inflammation, just give anti-inflammatory drugs, basically to dull the pain, and hopefully everything will be forgotten about, which generally it does, but it continues to simmer on. So when any such medicine removes the inflammatory barrier around the source of inflammation, it is like removing the coolant from a power station, and the eventual result is that there is a meltdown. Yes, inflammation is nature's way of holding the reaction in check. Part of inflammation is pain. There might be swelling, but it is the only way that the body knows to stop the spread of the source. That sounds amazing and scary, but what do we have to offer? By developing resilience, the body's resilience, from consistently supplying the right nutrients, such as fish, grain, legume oils, okay? These actually can simultaneously act as anti-inflammatory substances and also enhance the immune function. That is so crucial. We also get the antioxidants that you saw in the Pro Vitality to protect the fats and to boost immunity. So you are approaching the process from a proactive and a proactive way rather than reactive. And that's what NeoLife is all about. In contrast, pharmaceuticals will tend to suppress the immune function. And unfortunately, one pays the price later. So very quickly, so that we can have a Q&A and comments, we invite you to appreciate real nutrition. Everything is food-based. We invite you to appreciate synergies. For example, vitamin C is enhanced in function if you add flavonoid complex. However, initially you might not be able to afford everything, but ultimately the idea is to be able to use the products. Then appreciate real results. Yes, diabetes is on the rise. I've described it as falling in the category of autoimmunity in some situations. In other cases, it actually is the body's way of saying we can't handle too much of this wrong food. We have products that are leading edge products, such as botanical balance, and then you can improve your cells' energy production at a mitochondrial level. In other words, this product goes right inside the cell. It's called coenzyme Q10. It is supposed to be produced by our cells, but it declines quite rapidly. By the age of 50, you are only making maybe 30 to 50%. And so you can supplement. Okay, so as we close off, we have cleaning products. I mentioned them. My story is that I was actually looking for cleaning products. I didn't want to raise my children in an environment that was full of toxins, but nobody had told me until one day I was invited to look at NeoLife, very much like I hope many of you guests have been invited. Now, I was super excited to know that our cleaning products, as opposed to the ones that I had used up to that point, do not have hormone disrupting chemicals. They are 100% biodegradable. They are so versatile. You need just a few products to accomplish a lot of cleaning. They are concentrates, and that makes them super economical. You don't need to buy water because it is understood that you might have your own water in your house. And then even if a child were to drink it by mistake, it might taste funny, but it won't poison the child. In my practice, in my career, I've seen children brought and we would have to rush them to ICU because they had drank something under the kitchen sink. Okay, and so we need to make our homes our havens so that when we go home, we are sure that we are safe. Unfortunately, a lot of families have had disasters in homes, and then over the years, we wonder why are our men folk developing cancer of the prostate? Why are our women folk getting all these cancers of the breast and things like that? Well, maybe we shouldn't be looking out there and rather look in our own homes at what we are cleaning with. So we invite you to look at this very important why NeoLife aspect, and that is to make sure that your home is safe, not only for your children, but for you adults as well. And when you do that, you might be shocked and surprised that those headaches, that lower back pain, that weight that wouldn't budge, you know, you've been trying all the diets in the book and you still can't lose weight. But the minute you make your home safe, your body will feel safe and it will release where it stored the toxins in the fat, you see. So that is what we have. This is the core cleaning products, which also includes the washing powder. Very economical. You'll hear about it. I won't dwell too much on it. Then instead of bringing in toxic bleaches, such as chlorine, which is a highly oxidizing agent, we use oxygen, just to let you know. Okay, so why NeoLife? Why NeoLife? This is an aspect that I want each of you to consider. Make NeoLife your lifestyle, because together we make the world healthier and happier. And so I've tried to represent everybody. For the men, yeah, this is not a lady's business. You can participate. I've pointed out that if you can be involved in the cleaning of your home by saying, yes, let us use products that won't ultimately cause me in my 50s and 60s to develop cancer of the prostate, you should be beginning now to think about that. So that is one of our values, a long-range vision. Think about the mothers who might perhaps want to have a home-based business because they want to raise their children. Why NeoLife? That's a big why, a big, big why. And then think about, you might have a job, you are happy with your job, but then you're planning for the future when the job is no longer yours, right? It's a business you can own. You can't always own your job, but you can own your own business. So for me, that's a big why NeoLife. And I hope we have helped you to connect the dots. And now I want us to have a lively discussion, because when all is said and done, why NeoLife? I think it's the best opportunity. I've been involved with NeoLife for quite a few years, and I've made it my lifestyle. Okay, so please put up your digital hand and then I will unmute you.